Por favor, tomen sus asientos. Visionarios está por comenzar.
Welcome aboard.
Demos la bienvenida a Julio Vaqueiro, conductor. Demos la bienvenida a Julio Vaqueiro, conductor y presentador de Noticias Telemundo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Good evening. Welcome to our third Visionarios event hosted by Noticias Telemundo and Axios. Very happy to be here. Please come in closer, grab a seat. We have some space up here. Come closer to the stage if possible. This is a very special night for us. I'm excited to be in LA. This is the first city I came to when I first moved to the United States, so it's always moving, always happy to be here. And it's also a great opportunity to commemorate the beginning of the Hispanic Heritage Month. So here tonight, this is the plan. We want to host short conversations with Latino Visionarios who have been successful in media, in athletics, in politics. We want to know how they got there and why it matters. And after those conversations, please stick around because we have a reception. We will have tequila and tacos. And I hope we can catch up later when we get there. So also a reminder, please post and follow our program on social media. Visionarios 2024 is the hashtag. And if you haven't, please you should subscribe to our Axios Latino newsletter. We cover issues that are important for Latinos on both sides of the border. Now let's begin. Before this event, during the summer, Noticias Telemundo and Axios hosted two events during both national conventions, the Democratic National Convention and the Republican National Convention. And we talked to newsmakers, Congresswomen from Texas, Monica de la Cruz, Verónica Escobar, Congresswoman from Florida, Maria Elvira Salazar. We talked to California Senator Alex Padilla. So we've been talking to newsmakers, and tonight we have a very special guest. He has a very peculiar point of view of Latinos in Los Angeles. He's the former mayor of Los Angeles, and he's running for California governor. So please help me welcome Antonio Villarraigosa. Hello, sir. Welcome. Por favor.
A hot seat.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm great.
Nice to see you. Bienvenido.
Gracias. Y gracias a ustedes por venir.
So it's nice to be with you. You're running again for governor, but this is in 2026.
2026.
So I would say it's early to launch a campaign, wouldn't you? Why are you launching now?
There are 4 other people, and they've been in for more than a year. But I think the question really is, why am I running for governor? Mm-hmm. I'm running for governor because my grandpa got here more than 100 years ago with a shirt on his back and a dream from León, Guanajuato. And that dream is becoming more and more elusive for a lot of the people here. If you're young, it used to be that buying a home was part of the American dream. Now renting an apartment with 3 people is part of that dream. And I think people are looking for a problem solver. They're looking for someone who's done it before. Mucha gente pueden hablar y hablan mucho. Yo también puedo hablar, pero también puedo actuar.
Yeah.
I am not just a guy who talks. I'm not just a guy who's running. I'm running because I think people need a proven problem solver.
You ran before.
Yes,
you didn't win. What do you think this time you can win?
You know, as I said, I think I'm the right person at the right time. Mm-hmm.
What went wrong before?
Well, first of all, let me finish that point. the right person at the right time, at a time in California when the majority of people saying, I love this state, but we're going in the wrong direction. So you said, what did I learn? Is that your question? I think I learned get in earlier. I think I learned that, people want to know what you've done, but they want to focus on the future. So they want to know what you're going to do. I focused last time a little more on the other than the second one.
Now, the last time you were in office was 2013.
Right.
So a lot has changed. Being outside and looking in, what would you say that has changed in politics in the past few years?
I don't know if it's changed in politics, but I think too many people who run for office are timid. They're not bold. They're afraid to be unpopular. I'm not. I'm not running to be popular. I'm running to get things done.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a few of the things that I did while I was mayor of this town. LA was one of the most dangerous cities and most violent cities in America. Took crime down 48%. Not just by adding cops and taking guns off the streets, but with after-school programs, summer youth jobs, investing in prevention and intervention programs. I was focused on all of the above strategy. Downtown. Those of you who are young enough to remember downtown in the 1990s or 2000, it was a place nobody wanted to go. I helped to rebuild downtown. LA Live, crypto now. That was me, working with AEG. You look across the board, whether I was Speaker of the Assembly, toughest assault weapons ban in America, largest expansion of healthcare since Medi-Cal for kids, more than 1 million kids, 69% of them, by the way, Latino. I was focused on getting the job done. 2 budgets on time with a surplus, working with Republicans, something that doesn't happen very often.
So let's talk, what would you do if you become governor? Right now, a lot has changed also regarding undocumented immigrants in California. They now have Medi-Cal, and they could even have a government loan to purchase a house. That is, if Governor Gavin Newsom signs that bill into law. Would you sign that bill into law if you were governor? Yeah.
I spent my whole life. No podía hablar ni una palabra de español cuando empecé de 15 años defendiendo al inmigrante. Ahora me puedo defender. ¿Por
Más
qué?
o menos, no, muy bien.
Más o menos. Me puedo defender, hermano, en español o inglés.
You do.
I learned to speak Spanish because I saw the way immigrants were treated.
Yeah, but for instance, Republicans believe that the program, they're not even giving more loans now because they don't have enough money to meet the demand. And they would say that American citizens are not getting those benefits if undocumented immigrants get them.
They're also the same people that say Mexicans are criminals and rapists. Look, if you're asking, should we secure our border? Every country has a border that they have a right to secure. Should we have a pathway to citizenship for the 11 million people that live here? Absolutely. As governor, I'll stand up for the notion that healthcare's a right. Everybody ought to have it. That our kids ought to have the best schools, whether they're documented or undocumented. That they ought to be able to get a college and be judged by the content of their character, not their status, especially when we know our immigration system in the United States is broken.
Do you agree with President Biden's executive order to limit asylum requests at the border?
Look, we've had millions of people come in. There's no question that some of them are political refugees. Many of them are not. To have a process for them to come is absolutely reasonable in my mind, particularly in the environment that we live in today. But at the end of the day, you can't do that without also providing a pathway to citizenship. You look at our economy today, everybody, it's immigrants, man. They're generating the wealth of this country. Latinos and Latinas are starting more businesses per capita than any other group. Many of them are immigrants. So yes, I'm for immigrants. I'm for the American dream.
But you're also for restricting asylum.
I'm also for making sure that we're living in an environment where we can sell the notion of providing a pathway of citizenship for these people. You can't do it when there's all the noise that you have right now. It used to be that there was a bipartisan notion that fixing the broken immigration system was something we ought to do. But today, we're not in that world.
What about
yes.
this bipartisan bill that didn't go through?
Well, first of all, I'm running for governor and not for president of the United States.
But this
and
is...
I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question, but
this is a border state, so it is important to know what you think.
It's a border state, and I just answered it. I'll answer it again, but let's talk about housing. Let's talk about all the things.
The border bill, do you agree with the bipartisan border bill?
Look, it wouldn't have been the first thing that I would have done. As I said, I've always stood for immigrants, but I understood why they did it. They did it because we're living in an environment where people think it's okay to say Mexicans are criminals and rapists when we just know that's not true. They're not. In fact, we know that the undocumented commit less crimes per capita than citizens and, the people born here.
Yes. Now, climate change, which is another important issue here in California. Newsom named you infrastructure advisor. What would you say is the infrastructure that California needs to be able to be ready for climate change?
Well, first of all, he named me infrastructure advisor because some of you who live in LA know that LA, under my leadership, built 3 light rail lanes and 1 busway, more schools than anybody in America, invested in the airport and the port for the first time since the 80s, since the Olympics of '84. I was focused on infrastructure. What do I think we need right now? I think we need to repair our roads, our bridges. I think we need more public transit. I think we need to make sure that we have an airport that is worthy of being in a global city. I think we need to put people in good union, middle-class jobs. When I was mayor, we did a thing called project labor agreements. And because of the affirmative action rules in this state, we couldn't say Latinos, women, blacks, but this is what we said. We're going to hire people in high unemployment, high poverty census tracts. Today, you have women on construction sites. You have Latinos, not only laborers, but operating engineers and plumbers and electricians. You have African Americans on construction sites. That was because I said, everybody has a right to work if they're willing to work, including people, if you want me to go back to immigration, including people that are working hard and come from another country. Yeah.
So just yesterday, I was talking to an immigrant family. They're all living in the same house, different generations. And housing is the big issue. They have to move, they want to move, they have to move like 2 hours drive from LA and work here in LA. How do you solve that problem?
When I think of that problem, I think of the LA Times during the hotel strike. A woman living in the desert area, going 3 hours to work, working in 2 hotel jobs, sleeping in a parking lot in between those 2 jobs. That's what we have in California today. The 4th largest economy in the world, with the highest effective poverty rate in the United States because of the cost of living, because of the cost of housing. So what do? Streamline, cut red tape, cap lawsuits, as I did for infrastructure, saying if climate change is the biggest challenge facing humankind, why aren't we treating it like an emergency? Why aren't we going at it and doing what we need to do to build it? Do you know that today, Texas and Florida, who didn't vote for the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, who didn't vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, they're drawing down more federal dollars than California. You know why? Because we take too long and it costs too much to build. So cut red tape, streamline permitting, cap lawsuits like we did for the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, and be smart about saying that every community deserves housing, including affordable housing. So those cities, hopefully, that want to comply with the law, they should be rewarded. Those cities who don't, shouldn't.
You could potentially become the first Latino governor in California in a very long time.
No. You're going to do it. Wait. No, let me clarify that. I always thought that Rómulo Pacheco.
Yeah, that was my point.
He wasn't elected. He was a lieutenant governor. We've never elected a Latino
there you
in a
go.
state with 40% of the population.
There you go.
But let me be clear.
So, but what does that mean?
Wait. Let me be clear about this. I'm not running as a Latino. I'm proud of who I am. I'll always stand up for my community. I want to be a governor for all of us. I want to show this state that you could be from any corner of the earth. Be a governor who unites us. That's what I did as mayor. First time around, some of us remember that election. People weren't ready yet. Second time around, you saw that people were surprised that I wanted to be a mayor for everybody. So I want to be a governor for everybody. I recognize that I'd be breaking a glass ceiling. And what I say, and I'm going to say it in Spanish, he dicho muchas veces que el papel de primero no es decir, ay, soy tan único, soy especial. El papel de primero es abrir la puerta para los demás. Para los afroamericanos, para los latinos, para las mujeres, para los asiáticos, para todos que quieren trabajar y participar. So, if you don't speak Spanish, sorry, because somebody will translate it for you. Basically, I said the role of the first is to open up the door.
Exactly. Well, Antonio Villaraigosa, thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
We had a good time.
Good time?
It was short.
It was short. Gracias. Gracias.
En momentos, la sección View from the Top, moderada por Fabricio Drummond.
Bienvenidos a la tercera edición de Axios Visionarios. Axios and Telemundo Noticias are thrilled to have everyone here with us tonight. Big shout out and thank you for our incredible partner, Bank of America, for making this event possible. And also for being the launch partner of Axios Latino and helping in this continued support. Axios Latino is 3 years old now, and the incredible work that the team is doing is thanks to the partnership that we have with Bank. I'm going to kick off our View from the Top segment. I had the pleasure of having a conversation with the president of business banking and president for the greater Los Angeles market. Please welcome Raul Anaya. Raul, un placer. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for all of you for being here. It's great to see a lot of friends that are in the room, many clients, longtime friends, and where's our distinguished Mexican counsel, Carlos González Gutierrez? ¿Dónde estás, Carlos? Our Mexican counsel. Thank you for being here.
This is great to be back, Raul, in the great city of Los Angeles. Let's dive in. So, Bank of America has a unique approach to support startup all the way to mid-sized businesses. Tell us more about this approach and how it really empowers businesses established, emerging in the Hispanic and Latino community.
So one of the things that I'm proud of is leading what we call business banking for Bank of America nationally. And so that's across the country. We have about 3.4 million clients, and we're handling companies of all sizes, from startup to $50 million in revenue. We do that nationally. I've got a national team. I'm able to stay in Los Angeles to drive the opportunity that exists across the country. And one of our growth strategies is the Latino community. And so when I think of the 3.4 million clients that we have, from startup to 50 million, 1.2 million of them are Latino business owners. So we're very, very proud of that. We spend a lot of time getting to know them, understanding their challenges, really addressing the importance of what they need to grow their business long term. And quite frankly, our strategy in business banking to the Latino community is just one aspect of what we are doing across all of Bank of America to really cater and serve the Latino community, from consumer to businesses to wealth management to everything that we do at Bank of America. While we've been supporting the Latino community for decades, last year we've been moving forward with a comprehensive end-to-end strategy towards the Latino community across the country.
Last year, among the many initiatives that Bank of America has to support the community, you mentioned the Hispanic Latino business councils that you have throughout the country. How has this initiative evolved since launch in 2009?
Yeah.
And what makes it, a model of success to support Hispanic Latino clients.
So what Fabrizio's talking about, back in 2009, we started here in Los Angeles a Latino Business Council. So it's basically a group of 20 bankers, Latino bankers, that sits down, talks about how do we help the Latino community. Businesses of all sizes, families, nonprofits. And in fact, the current head of the Bank of America Latino Council is right here, Raul Bustillos. Thank you for being here, Raul. And for years, we exported that idea, and it now exists in 29 other cities: New York, Chicago, Houston, Dallas. And the idea there is you have a group of Latino bankers that think about how do we better serve the needs of the Latino community. And so in LA, because of that, it's been going on here for 15 years. Very proud to say that some of our best and newest clients in the Latino community would be names that all of you would recognize, like Ultimate Health Services, who's here, Tapatio, Porto's Bakery, Northgate Markets, as an example of how this group of Latino bankers is sitting down with all of our Latino businesses of all sizes, really trying to understand what's important to them and how do we help them grow their businesses, how do we help their employees understand the complexity of financial literacy, as an example.
Raul, let's now switch to a study that Bank of America recently commissioned and released. It's the first ever U.S. Latina GDP. I think we have a few visuals to share and get your takeaways, what the key findings from this report. Here we have one piece of data. Tell us more about this research.
Yeah, so we're very proud of funding this study. It was done, we just released it a month ago, less than a month ago, and it's one of many Latino GDP studies that we have funded over the last several years. And part of the strategy for Bank of America is not only providing access to capital to the Latino community, financial literacy to the Latino community, but also, quite frankly, increasing the awareness of the size, scale, and importance of the Latino community. And so we've done these type of studies the last several years. This is the first ever Latina GDP report that's ever been published. And you'll see some of these graphs. What's powerful about this, I think we all know, or we knew, now the facts are here, that the Latina GDP, if you just, is $1.3 trillion. Think about that. It's bigger than there's bigger than 47 states in the country. Bigger than the state of Florida. The only 3 states that it's not big, you see it up there, right? California, New York, and Texas. It's a powerful statement of what here in Los Angeles we know is important, the Latino segment, and then specifically the Latina community in terms of their entrepreneurship, how they start businesses, how they spend. So congrats to all of you Latinas.
And we also have, so you're talking about scale, and we also have growth. Let's
Yep.
talk about growth with this, which is this other visual here. So how is this community growing?
So just like the Latino community that continues to grow at outsized levels compared to the non-Latino community, this, again, the facts show that the Latina GDP, the Latina community, if taken as a cohort, is growing at 2.7 times faster than the non-Latino community. And so when you think about the opportunity, the reason why Bank of America is very focused on the Latino community is it's 20% of the US population. It's 50% here in LA, which is why we formed these Latino business councils across 29 cities, why we have 73% of all of our financial centers across the country, where you have Spanish certified bankers to be able to talk to our Latino clients if they choose to speak in Spanish. So this is just kind of one of many different levers, but the Latina community segment in particular, it's growing in educational attainment, it's growing in wealth, it's growing in job creation, and labor participation. Those are all things that are driving the US national economy. And so for us at Bank of America, it's important that we serve this growing segment. Again, 20% of the US population, but it's also, quite frankly, why Bank of America is growing.
And how are you approaching these economic trends, and how are they shaping and informing your strategy nationally and here in the LA community?
Yeah, so this growth strategy is not just for business banking, it's for all of Bank of America. This is something that Brian and the rest of my colleagues on the management team are very supportive. This is something that the board of directors of Bank of America also understands because, again, it's part of our growth strategy. And because of that, we are looking at ways to how do we provide more support and assistance to the Latino community? How do we provide more access to capital? And so that's why a few years ago we announced a $500 million commitment to help venture capital, minority-owned venture capital firms, Latino, women, Black, African American, Asian. How do we invest in those funds so that they in turn can invest in other Latino, Asian, women, Black, African American technology companies? So that's just, these type of facts is what drives our decisions at the bank in terms of how do we continue to help this growing segment. And I'm proud to say we have a couple of venture capital firms that we have funded here. Where's Act One Ventures? Alejandro Guerrero, Carmen Palafox, where is she? Carmen right here. She's with 2045. So when you see Alejandro and you see Carmen, you think of, they are funding technology companies. And most people think, wait, Latinos don't start technology companies? Well, they do. Just talk to Alejandro, talk to Carmen. They're out there. And we are investing in them because, first of all, they're doing an amazing job finding Latino-owned technology startups who in turn are growing, and that's how we are generating wealth for our Latino community. It's just one of many different ways. And using these type of facts guides us as a leadership team at Bank of America to determine how do we do more for the Latino community.
Excellent. Well, we're about to get the hook here, but we like to end on a fun note here with the one fun thing at Axios. LA is hosting the World Cup in 2026. Bank of America is one of the official sponsors and partners.
No, we are the official bank of the World Cup. The official bank.
So, if not Team USA, what's your second team that you're going to be rooting for?
Team Mexico, right? Yes. What about yours?
I'm from Brazil, so I have to say Brazil. And, we happened to win in the US in '94, so maybe we'll repeat the feat.
Maybe.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you, everyone. We have 2 more segments. Sit tight and then join us for a reception.
Demos de nuevo la bienvenida a Russell Contreras, reportero para temas raciales, étnicos y de justicia en Axios.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. We're really excited to be here in LA. This is our second Visionarios in Los Angeles. We fight to come to LA because this is the center of Latino culture, Los Angeles. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I give you props for what goes up here in Los Angeles. So thank you so much. Thank you. I also want to say a few things. My name is Russell Contreras. I'm the race and justice reporter here at Axios and one of the co-authors of Axios Latino. You can get Axios Latino in your inbox. Sign up for axios.com/newsletters and get the top Latino news in your inbox every Tuesday and Thursday. And I also want to give a shout out to my co-author, Marina Franco, who's up there. She's from Mexico City, Telemundo. She covers Latin America like nobody else. She also corrects our Spanish. She says it's Feliz Año Nuevo, not Feliz Año way. And thank you for Lalo Alcaraz, who has us on the radio show every Friday at the Pocho Hour, promoting Axios Latino. As I mentioned, I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm honored to bring our host here, a fellow Tejana and Olympian. She is known with her nickname, La Traviesa, aka the Troublemaker, which was a name given to her by her grandmother. She's an Olympics boxer who competed this summer in Paris in the Olympics. Please welcome the amazing Jennifer Lozano. Please. Jennifer, this is your first time in Los Angeles, is that correct?
Yeah.
So just so you know, it's a little strange here. They eat tacos with corn. It's really weird. It's really strange. Before we get started on your boxing career, let's talk about your childhood. You've been very open about the bullying you faced when you were a child because of your weight, because of your accent, living in Laredo, Texas. and you went to your grandmother. What was her advice to you when you told her about this bullying and the violence you faced?
I told her once about it. I never told my family about it. But when I did tell her, she said, pues si a ti te molesta, mija, tú les pegas para atrás. Tú no te dejes, no te rajes, mija, tú pégale para atrás.
And what did you do? You said, okay, but you took it a step further. You went to a gym and started training when you were a child. What did you do?
Yeah, so she told me that, and I was like, Inga, pues I'm gonna defend myself, right? Like I can fight. So like after school, I was always getting jumped and stuff. But as soon as she told me that, like I never had the courage to hit somebody. Like I never liked violence. I was very angry, so I took it out on my siblings when I got home, but never on the people who were causing it. So I joined the boxing gym on the south side to try and defend myself, and I fell in love with the sport just like that. They had me shadow box for about 3 or 4 hours that first day. Never wore gloves, boxing shoes, nothing. And I fell in love with the simple fact that I could defend myself.
The gym owner at the time, you said, okay, I'm ready to compete. That coach said, no, we don't want women fighting in events. What did you do?
I got discouraged. I was 9. Me and my mom went up to him to ask him if I could compete, because I would see all these boys with trophies and medals and belts coming into the gym, and I was like, I want one. Like, why can't I get one? So I wanted to compete, and he said no. He said no because I was a girl. This wasn't a sport for me. I wasn't meant to be there, and I wasn't gonna be nobody. And that I was still chubby, and I just had weight to lose. So my mom looked at him and said, "Okay, está bien. Usted va a ver un día ya va a ser muy grande, va a ser bien grande, va a llegar bien lejos. Usted nomás vea." And me thinking I'm 9 years old. That's just my mom like talking, right? Like not querer. And pues, I started in other sports for my health because I was chubby. And so I was in soccer and basketball, and I was really good, but I didn't have that passion, that drive. My mom noticed and took me to a different gym up north. And I started sparring guys. And as soon as I did, they didn't want to get in the ring with me no more.
Yeah. If you could find it, there's a videotape of your first fight where you admittedly said you lost all your training. You went, "Está loca." You started saying, right? Someone who was undefeated. And you went down, not because you got punched, but because you got tired. Something happened at that moment that you do today with your hands. Tell us about what happened when you got up.
So I fell, she hit me right in my chest. I walked up to her, I was super tired. And because all I knew was to street fight, like, "Hombre, está loca." And pues, I got back up and I smacked my gloves. And when I smacked them, I was like, okay, like it's game time. Like I'm not about to get stopped. I'm not about to like fall right now, like in front of my family. My grandma was there, my mom, my dad, everybody. And I was like, "Nambe, like I can't lose. And so I ended up winning that fight after that. And I just got back up and I fought.
Do you still do that today? Smack your gloves?
Yeah, but I don't fall. I just smack them. I smack them right before I fight. Yeah, I don't fall.
Your grandmother was one of your biggest fans. But she was living in Nuevo Laredo. As you lived in Laredo, you would go visit her across the bridge every day and visit her. But there was a lot of violence, a lot of guns. You talked about this. And there was one case where a lot of people got killed. There was a shootout. And then your grandmother didn't answer the phone. What happened?
I ended up finding her deceased body about a week later in her home. Me and my mom discovered it, and it was pretty much downhill for my family after that. I was 17, and I was going down the wrong path after that. I became blind with anger and rage, and I just wanted to fight. I didn't care about my well-being, nothing. And because of our strong culture, we didn't believe in berrinches and like chiflazones and que lloras and kind of find help stuff. Like you kind of dealt with it on your own. And it was pretty much downhill for me. Like I didn't care about school. I wanted to fight everybody. I lost a lot of friends. I was going down the wrong path, and I was just blind. And so one of my closest friends, Chris, she was the one who stuck with me, and she had to walk me to my classes. She ate by herself. Like I wanted to be away from people. I knew I was just angry, and so I would eat by myself at the gym and stuff like that. I would isolate myself because I didn't want to hurt nobody. I was just mad. And even at the gym, like I would spar my teammates who were all guys, and obviously at this point, like they had to control their power, and I was like, hit me, like, no me vas a pegar, I'm a girl, you're gonna let a girl hit you, like, ándale, pégame. I didn't care. Like, yeah, I wanted to get beat on, I wanted to beat people, like, I didn't care, I had so much anger. And then I lost my national tournament that same year in December against my teammate on Team USA now, Alyssa Mendoza. I ended up losing to her on a split by a point. And that changed my life. Like, all of a sudden, this weight came off my shoulders, and like, I wanted to change my life. Like, I was like, ¿qué estoy haciendo con mi vida? Like, I'm just wasting it. Like, I'm not doing nothing. Like, I'm failing all my classes. I'm just in the street. Like, ¿qué estoy haciendo? Like, ¿pa' qué? Like, my grandma would not have wanted this, man. So that's when I decided to make a change, and it didn't come easy. Like, I was still messing up. I was still doing stuff, and like, COVID hit, so being alone, being the youngest in my family, and just being home alone like all day and just going to practice and stuff, like, it sucked. But I ended up reaching out for help, and once I did, like, I ended up coping with it, and then I decided to be an advocate for mental health because I noticed other friends like that I had like dealt with trauma and stuff, and like they let that trauma depict their future and stuff like that.
Today, you are now ranked number 1 as in the United States as a light featherweight women's division. Won the Golden Gloves, Pan American, and then you were Olympian. Paris didn't go the way we want, but when you got home, the city of Laredo, and people don't know, they don't even agree where to put a stop sign in Laredo, but you returned and everybody was united to welcome you back. From the schools that you went to the politicians who had hated each other, everybody was there to greet you. What did it mean for the whole city to rally and say, we got your back?
It meant everything to me because, you know, when I lost, like, it hurt. It stung so deep. I've been doing this since I was 9 years old, had a big dream, sacrificed a lot, lost a lot of people along the way, had to make a lot of changes and stuff. And for within less than 10 minutes, like, that's gone. Get me? So I felt like a fraud. I felt like a disappointment when I got home because I was like, man, like, I didn't do nothing. So when I got home and I saw like all these people, my high school, everybody, like, they're chanting my name and mariachis and all this and that, like, man, it brought me to tears. I got so emotional. But what made me like realized like I had made a difference in my city and I had actually made history was the fact that kids were coming up to me with like these big eyes and like tears in their eyes and being like, muchas gracias, like, es por ti que ya no me voy a pelear, es por ti que voy a ir a la escuela y es por ti que le voy a hacer caso a mi mamá and stuff like that. Like, hearing those type of stuff, like, dang, like, that makes me think back and the way I wanted to grow up and look up to somebody. Like, I never had that, so the fact that I can be that for these kids and future generations in my city, like, and even across in Mexico, like, that means a lot to me and even more.
At the Olympics, there was that controversy, obviously, with somebody falsely accusing a female boxer as being trans. They were a woman, identified as a woman, birthed as a woman. But on social media, it became something else that some people in certain areas of the political persuasion were saying women should not be in boxing. It's not a sport for women. Even though you're competing at the highest level, when you saw that criticism, what was your reaction?
Man, I've been told that my whole life since I started that career. This career, like, yeah, it's a male-dominated sport, but we're here to show everybody, the whole world, our community and everything that pues las mujeres también pueden, like, las mujeres son bien chingonas y las vamos a hacer de que la vamos.
You are right now an amateur. Are you thinking about going pro?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not right now. I still have to get back with my coaches and see what they say, because if it's not with my coaches, you know, nobody's getting me. Like, me and my coaches have been through everything. Only they know what we've been through, the sacrifices we've made. So with them, like, I got to get back with them. I've been all over the place and speaking everywhere, but
it's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. Soon. We don't know when, but soon. And I'm going to be making a lot of history once I do and once I go pro. Now,
there have been a lot of boxers like Holly Holmes and all that who've transitioned from boxing to MMA. Are you considering in the future doing MMA combat sports?
I'm gonna be honest, nah. They're crazy. Nah, I'm cool with boxing. Nah. I do no MMA.
That's not you.
Nah, I box. I just need my hands to beat you up. Like, that's it.
In our final 60 seconds here, take us back to that little girl who started and was going, está loca, going crazy, that Mexican style, kill or be killed, to now you do that, but then you stop. Almost after you remind your work, but you're also messing with the boxer. What are you doing now?
I'm just messing with them. Like, it's at the end of the day, boxing, like, it might be a violent sport from the outside, but in the inside, it's beautiful. It's like an art to me. And it's like my safe space. And to me, like, what I do in that moment is, like, I basically figure them out. And I know their weakness. So me and my coach train day in, day out to train for every scenario possible. And, you know, I know what I'm facing once I get in there.
Jennifer, we are honored to have hosted you at this Visionarios stage and proud to feature your journey there. Give her a round of applause. I am now going to toss it over to my Axios Latino co-author and the Axios Latino editor, Astrid Galvan, for one final conversation. And please give an LA round of applause to Jennifer, the troublemaker.
Presentando a mí, Astrid Galvan, editora de Axios Latino.
Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Excited? Yes. We are thrilled to be back in LA. Like Russ, I hail from Texas, but I love me some LA. And we're just so thrilled that we're having our third Visionarios here. So we've spoken to Visionario Latinos in policy and in business and in athletics. And now we're moving on to arts and entertainment. Our next and final guest, I'm sure everybody here knows, yes, is an amazing actor. You probably know her as the star of Telemundo's Reina del Sur. Yes. Many other movies and TV shows that she's been a part of. And she is a passionate activist, a successful businesswoman, a great producer. And without further ado, we are so excited to welcome the one and only Kate del Castillo.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Buenas noches a todos. Buenas noches.
So, Kate, you were recently one of very few...
Let me say something before.
Okay, please.
I feel so honored to be here among everybody, but Villarraigosa Antonio, he's been a friend of mine, of my family for so long. You are our next governor. Yes, you are. I love you so much. Y también Jennifer. Oh my God, I don't want to cross her path, ever. Ever. Not even la Reina del Sur. Yeah, that woman, oh my God.
It's been a good night.
Yes.
We're gonna make it even better.
Good.
You were recently one of very few Latinos inducted into the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. A big deal.
Yes, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about, what it was like to get that call, what this means to you?
Means the world. Can you imagine? I am from Mexico City. Yes, my dad is a huge actor from Mexico too, but you know, it's like a dream to go to Hollywood, to be in the Academy. That's like, so for me, it's not only an honor, but it's a huge responsibility, because it means a lot, because I'm an actress and I know what it takes to get the role, to get there, to get this amazing character and just feel free to do your craft, So I'm very honored. I don't even know what to say, but I just received, and I posted it, my diploma, Kate del Castillo, la Academia. Yes. My father doesn't even, he's like, ay, muy bien, mijita. But he doesn't, he's like, he doesn't understand what it means. I mean, he does, but he's just like, muy bien, mijita.
That's the Mexican dad for you sometimes.
Yes, right, yeah, right.
So before you came to Hollywood 2 decades ago, you already had a very established career in Mexico. What was that transition like for you? What did you go through to sort of land where you are now?
Well, it was not easy, let me tell you. I was not running, but in a way from Mexico. I have just divorced from a very violent marriage. So that pushed me to go somewhere else. I always had my my mind here in the United States, in Los Angeles, because we're close and this and that. So I was like, this is the time for me to leave. I don't know. I just feel that like that was a push for me to come here and start it all over again. So most of the time you leave everything, cuando no tienes nada que perder. I had everything to lose in that moment. And I started from scratch, and I cannot be more happy because I learned so much. In Mexico, I didn't get the roles that I was looking for. I didn't get the jobs that I was looking for. I will always be a telenovela star, and I'm not saying that's bad at all. I learned so much, and I'm so grateful por las telenovelas. But I wanted to do something more, because las telenovelas, they're amazing, but if you're the leading of la telenovela, it's only the guy that changes that you kiss. But it's the whole same thing. So sometimes it gets boring a little bit, I didn't get to be la villana, like así, la Diana Salazar. I never got to do that. So for me, it was getting a little bit boring. And I always wanted to come here. And starting from scratch, it was amazing because I would go to a casting, to an audition, and nobody knew who I am. So it was only me and my performance. And I got a lot of roles that I would have never have gotten in Mexico. So I'm very grateful for this country and very grateful to be a citizen of this country now after 23 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
We've seen a shift. This is sort of a side, but I think it's interesting. We've seen a shift in the music industry where Latin artists don't have to necessarily cross over into English anymore, right? Bad Bunny being probably the biggest example of that. Do you see any sort of shift in Hollywood where there's more appreciation for Spanish language programming or TV or movies, whereas before it was just,
Ingrid, I'm going to tell you something. I came here, I already said, 23 years ago. I spent all my money that I saved when I came here on a dialect coach, because nobody will listen to my accent. And my accent was exactly the same that you hear right now. It's like, o sea, no se ha quedado mejor, no es peor, no es exactamente lo mismo. And they wouldn't listen because the American people didn't want to listen to my accent. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Especially TV. Movies was another thing, and I got a couple of great movies and this and that, but television was very hard. And after 23 years, I can see a little change in the right direction, of course. It's more diversity here and there. They read subtitles. Then the Squid Game, so or Mexican stuff, or in Spanish, and but before they didn't. I just think that Hispanics in the cinematic industry, in la industria cinematográfica, we're still invisible. It's so depressing in that sense. I'm still getting, that's why I formed my own company, my Chollywood Productions, because I wasn't getting the roles that I want, because I'm always getting la prostituta, la sirvienta. It's not that we don't want to do those things. I mean, of course. I mean, it's a job, but we can be so many other things. And that's why I started producing. But, I think, yes, it's, to answer your question, yes, it has changed, but very slow. And we need more, much more.
Yeah. And the data backs up what you're saying, right? The rates of Latinos as leads in film or TV, as directors, as writers, they're abysmal.
They are.
Can you talk about your production company and sort of how that plays into this issue?
Yes, we call it the name is Chollywood Production, because my two producer partners, they are from East LA, and they grew up there. Yeah. And sometimes cholas, they have like a negative connotation, and we don't think that like that. We think they are amazing women that have fought among men, you know, and they're resilient and they're amazing. So that's why we call it Chollywood. And if you see, I don't have it here, but if you see the logo, it's like Hollywood, but with a C in it. So we just hear like here, we're here in LA, you know? and that's why we call it like that, because we don't want to do just Latino shows. I don't watch necessarily Latino shows. We just want to make mainstream shows, amazing shows that will happen to have Latinas and Latinos in front of the camera, behind the camera, and wherever. But you know, if the director we're choosing is an American guy, a white guy, that's perfect, because it's going to be the right person for the show. I mean, we just don't want to label ourselves like only Latinas, because there's so many things we want to talk about.
Right. And I mean, other than starting your own production company, what other things do you think need to change or happen in the industry to be more inclusive of Latinos?
Oh my God! I wish I knew.
You would have done it.
But I would have done it already. But you know, having the key people in the right places, you know, la gente que hace la narrativa. We have to change the narrative, and most of the time the narrative is with white males, most of the time, and we want to change that. So as long as we have the key people like Antonio now as a governor, you know, he was a mayor, he was amazing because he was fighting, and you know, Karen Bass now, you know, or Kamala right now, women, but also women that are sensitive, women that know what's going on and they're sensitive to everybody, not only for women, not only for Latinos, not only for, you know, we're so much people, we just need a little bit of love. I am so tired. I'm Mexican, okay? I came here because in Mexico also it's a lot, you know, what it is in Mexico. And now it's like, I have to put the alarm, set up the alarm in my house because I'm afraid, because there's so many robberies and so many breaking-ins in houses. And I'm like, fuck, Mexico is now better. How come? You know, in Mexico, we're gonna have the first Mexican president. Woohoo! I don't know if it's gonna be woohoo. We'll see later, but you know, how come the United States, it's even talking about being again there?
Yeah.
I'm just so, you know, it's incredible. But you know, I think we just need a little bit of love and less of hatred that is going out there. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So you have your tequila brand, your production company.
Yes, I didn't bring it. I'm sorry, you guys.
You should have brought it so we could have a shot before we came on. Yeah. That would have helped my nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
But what do you see your career going next? I mean, you do so many things. Do you want to focus on one? Do you love being in different pockets of things?
You know, I'm about to, I wrote a book a long time ago, probably 20 years ago, about my experience with my first marriage, and it's called Tuya. And now after 23 or some years, I'm gonna direct it. So I'm working on that. I'm very excited. I'm not gonna act it because I'm too old to be myself when I was that young, but I'm excited to direct. And this is it's about domestic violence, of course, but when in a time that Me Too didn't exist. So we were still very ashamed, and you know, there were so many things going on. We felt so alone, and so I'm going to be directing that hopefully next year. And I'm starting on the cleaning lady again. I'm going to be, you know, the bad girl in the cleaning lady, and I'm doing a movie. I'm leaving on Wednesday to Madrid. So thank God I'm very busy. Thank God. Yes.
Yes. Sounds a little exhausting, but amazing.
Yes, and we're waiting to see if we're going to do La Reina del Sur 4. I'm just waiting for here. Where's the Telemundo people? Where are they? Show up.
I'm sure it would be a hit, like it always is.
I know, right? Well, you know that Netflix said is the number 7 globally most seen show.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. It's the only one in Spanish. I just think that's amazing, and it's great for all of us Latinos.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just really quick, you're up, speaking of the cleaning lady, you're up for an Imagine Award for supporting actress on Sunday. Good luck.
Yes, this Sunday.
What do you think about that, and what are you hoping for?
I'm hoping to have a great time. I never expect anything. I'm just honored to be nominated, especially for the cleaning lady. It's an American show. It's in English. It's not my first language, which I think is amazing, and it's doing great. So I just want to see friends there. I just want to have a good time and not be nervous or expecting anything. I never expect anything, and that's good.
Yeah. Well, if you need someone to hang out with, I'll happily go with you.
Come with
and
me.
We could talk forever, but this is all the time we have. It's been such an honor. Kate, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Yes. Before everybody goes, please, the biggest, most important news of all, free drinks on us.
Yeah.
Stick around. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, and I want to say big thanks to Bank of America and Telemundo for making this event happen. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you, Kate. That was wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yes.